This Toyota SaveMart 350 2024 DFS Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with promo code RACESGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. We are also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Let's talk racing things, shall we? It is, of course, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Today, we are talking about the Toyota SaveMart 350 Cup race at the Sonoma Raceway in beautiful, pretty much my neighbor, Sonoma, California. And we're taking the DFS road down this path before. Cody, I'm telling you, we're getting to the end of the week, and I, for one, can't wait. I want to watch this race. Just wish I could be there.
Yeah, I wish you were there as well, Rod. I'll be feeling your pain next week when all of my friends are in Iowa at the race there, and I'm stuck at home. But hey, that's how it goes. This will be the first Cup-only DFS/Underdog show we've had in a little while. I'm torn on whether I like that or not because having it means that the Truck Series is off this week, which sucks, of course. But it is nice to be able to focus on a full episode and go back to the high, mid, and low tier ones, and then as well have all three underdogs be for the Cup Series. So I am excited for that part of it, Rod. It'll be a fun weekend here in wine country in Sonoma.
I know we get so used to just picking one from each that when I had to pick three, I was like, I can't do it. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do with my hands. I kept clicking, going, I got to pick a mid-tier driver. I don't like any of these mid-tier drivers. I just want to pick the driver I like.
That's great, Rod. That's great.
I love it. JB, let's effing go. Thank you, JB. Good to see you. James saying, damn right, Iowa Speedway.
Yeah. I wonder, I don't know, James, are you going to Iowa Speedway? He might be. I know he's here from here in the area, Rod. So he might be making that trek out there. I'm very sad. I hope. Unfortunately, I'm guessing it gets left off the schedule next year because it was kind of like a placeholder this season. But I hope that they bring it back so I can get the opportunity to go there next season, hopefully.
Although I am glad that I didn't try to book a trip out there because if I wouldn't have been able to not be able to make that trip too, I'd have been highly agitated. But yeah. So again, this is of course the road course race at Sonoma Raceway. If you guys are just listening to the DFS episodes each and every week, and we are breaking down this road course race. Only two series in action, just like Cody mentioned. It's the Xfinity Series, it's the Cup Series, which means that we are going to dedicate this full episode to not just Cup Series DFS, but also we'll give you three of our favorite underdog plays for the Cup Series as well. You know what's funny though? For DFS, I found better stuff that I like than for the actual betting portion of it. So I feel like this is a better opportunity than the betting portion.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rod. This week was a little tough at times to find stuff betting wise. I think we did a pretty good job with that, but a lot of stuff. Oh, when we get to the underdog portion of things, I got about 14 I can give out, so it's a good thing, Rod, that some of my other plays I'm not going to give out today are over on sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Check out the underdog article; it'll be coming out probably this evening. So make sure you check that out also.
Shameless plug. And I had an opinion on all of them. So that definitely means that the underdog numbers, the finishing positions were great this week as well. All right, we will get to all of that. But first, let's tell you about the NBA Finals. They tip off this week, and we're giving away a $100 cash and $100 gift card to the SGPN merch store to the listener who wins our NBA Final Prop contest. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NBA Finals to enter. Make sure you give Munaf some love. That guy needs all the hugs we can give him because NBA Finals, and that means the season's almost over and the show's almost over, and he's got to switch to football and do shows with me. So show him some love out there. Also show some love, and not to be outdone, are the hockey guys. The Hockey Gambling Podcast guys are giving away a Stanley Cup contest. They're giving away $100 as well and a $100 gift card. Go enter their contest at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Stanley Cup. As you can tell, hockey just a little bit less important than basketball because their picture didn't cover the whole screen. So that's how those guys roll. Love you.
Well, that's okay, Rod. They give out winning bets. They're not worried about making the graphics. So that's what we like about those guys.
We do too. Ryan's a stand-up gentleman, so make sure you go get him some love as well. There's one piece of news I wanted to touch on, Cody, as I saw this. I'm not usually the news guy, but I saw this and made me do a double take. Having been out to this racetrack a few times before now, one of the major landmarks that you see, especially in that big hairpin turn coming into the start-finish line, are tires. Those tires are gone. They have now put cement, actual permanent walls.
Ooh,
well, I wouldn't say permanent, but they don't move. Let's put it that way. One of the biggest complaints over the last few seasons, right, was cutting that corner and having the tires move off of the track and then having drivers continue to roll up on that corner, because if there's no tires there, I must be able to use that entire thing, right?
Yeah. Well, that was the thing during the Xfinity race last year. I mean, they moved those tire barriers back like 6 feet during the race. Like the drivers hitting the tire barriers continued to move them back because they were just getting so close. They were clipping them a little bit and just giving them a nice little shove over and over. We talked about, yesterday on the Xfinity show, all the Cup guys that were in that race were cutting it so close. That could end a day real quick if you Sam Mayer it like he did last week at Portland and push it a little bit too far and hit the wall instead of there being those movable tires there.
So now on top of the repave, now we've got these cement barriers there on that wall. I'm telling you right now, those things, that's a big part of these guys' race at this point. You saw it last season too, when they continued to, like you said, push it back. That became one of the talking points as far as, how are we going to enforce this? How are we going to make it to where the track limits thing is in NASCAR? It's like, you've exceeded track limits, and they're like, what are you talking about? There's no track limits. Only rarely does that ever come into play. Whereas, of course, obviously, with F1 and IndyCar, track limits is always really strictly enforced. Whereas NASCAR, it's more of a suggestion than a rule. And if you're too blatant about it, like if you really
ask SVG about that, Rob.
Well, okay, that's true too. Well, but I mean, if you completely miss a corner in Portland, of course you're going to get called on it, right? That's kind of where they're at. But even still, they've got procedures in place to where if you serpentine, you can not get penalized for it. Whereas that Sonoma corner was just straight up, you dare me? Dare, go ahead and penalize me for this. And they didn't. But now you hit that cement wall, that's going to end a day.
Yeah, that is a big change. I'm glad that you finally contributed to the news segment of this. No, I'm just kidding, Rod.
pulled my weight this time.
About time. James saying, yes, sir, he is going to be at Iowa. Beatrice Friday, Eagle Saturday, Iowa Speedway on Sunday. I really need to hang out with James more often. President of Iowa Speedway is on the front stretch today. Seems like he'll get another chance. All right, maybe we're carpooling next year then, James. I was going to try and go see James last week at Beatrice on Friday night. Some super late models out there. That's my jam. And got rained out, Rod. So that was unfortunate. But we will have to figure that out soon. Nick Fortune checking in from Iowa. Good afternoon, Hot Rod and Sassy Cody. Toyota winning manufacturer is what I'm betting on. And the Iowa Hawkeyes to lose more games than they win. That's a weird bet for you to throw out there, Nick. But, hey, we appreciate your contribution to the show.
Any chance the knife can dig deep and deep and deep. Although, James, be careful, buddy. I feel like you and Cody are going to hit it off too much. And I'm going to find one day that I'm going to try to log on to this, and it's going to say your privileges have been revoked, and all of a sudden it'll be the NASCAR Gambling Podcast with James and Cody. So
I don't think we'll go that far, Rod, but James and I have become pretty decent friends. So
just kidding.
I think that we're going to have lots of racetrack visits together in the future here.
As well, you should. James, thanks for being a part of the show. But still, I got your eyes. I got my eyes on you. We are, of course, like I said, at the Sonoma Raceway in the gorgeous hills of Sonoma, California, set for 110 laps around this 1.990 freshly repaved track for 218.900 miles. And we are excited to be a part of this experience. I love Sonoma. I love everything that goes with it. And I love the racing. So, yeah, we're ready to break down the DFS. Cody, what's the entry list look like? Who are we looking out for today? Week?
I should really stop clicking away from the entry list when we get to the DFS show, Rod. But entry list, 38 drivers entered this week, so they will all make the race. Kaz Grall is filling in the 15, or not filling in, but he's doing his rotation in the 15. AJ Allmendinger. What's that?
I'm doing my part.
AJ Allmendinger in the 16, and then a couple of V8 supercar guys coming over from Australia. Will Brown in the 33 car. Obviously, we saw Brody Kostecki in that car last season for a couple of races for RCR, and Cam Waters in the additional RFK entry, the number 60. He is supposedly the Ford version of SVG, so take that as you will. I did see one other piece of news today, Rod. Sort of ish news, but Bob Pockrass had an interview with Daniel Suarez, who says he expects to sign a multi-year agreement in the coming weeks. So that would kind of answer one of those dominoes that's out there of staying. Again, Trackhouse currently has 4 drivers, only 2 charters. Probably not going to be able to have 4 charters with the new agreement. A lot of questions going on there still. So. But that's really the only news I brought to the table today. So I'm glad you had some news of your own because it was better than my news.
Thank God. Hey, Daniel, I expected to get paid on time for some of the work that I did. Not for this company, of course, but from another company. But these guys, they pay me lovely. But the other company, I expect to get. That didn't happen. So I wouldn't hold my breath, Daniel. Maybe you just wait until you do sign that extension. Although I will say, I did see Bob Pockrass was in Sacramento. I wish I would have known that because I would have gone and hung out with him. It's about 45 minutes away from me. So
you missed your chance, Rod. Way to go.
I did. James talk about I'm too shitty a gambler. Your spot is safe, Rod.
That's why you listen to this show. So hopefully help you with that.
Kind of wide. Boji Joe checking in. My bingo card was full. Help me, guys. Definitely. Anybody racing that Rod can roll an R for. Oh,
yeah, we don't have that. Yeah, there you go. We don't have that guy from last week that Rod was killing it on, but
Andres.
Yeah. Will Brown doesn't roll off the tongue as nicely.
Will Brown.
Okay, you can make it sound good, Rod.
Did I though? I don't know. Okay, fine. Let's start talking about some DFS before I get called out by my sophomore Spanish teacher for being an absolute total dork. So, all right, let's tell you first about Underdog Fantasy, though. We're going to tell you all about Underdog Fantasy coming up. We're going to give you our favorite plays from this Underdog Fantasy whole gambit of what you can do. But in the meantime, Pick 8. Now live for the NBA Finals. Create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries, not just one gun, but 2. So you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. I am a guy that makes many mistakes. So thank God I get to make at least a couple and still cash my entry. With more picks to make and more extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. Can't you tell? Plus, the best part, you can win up to 325 times your original amount. That is a lot of money. And you can now use specials and boosts too on all flex entries. Hits just keep on coming. Can't wait to use my pick. We'll give you the picks that we're about to make here in just a second. So don't miss your chance to try it all out before it is gone. Sign up with our promo code right now. Race SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code Race SGPN. All right, Cody. So as we always do with this DFS edition, we give you a high price, low price, and mid-tier driver that we like. So with 110 laps, Cody, what's important here and what are our high price drivers?
Yeah, so 110 laps, as we talk about when we come to road courses, lap sled are still important, but there's a lot less than when you have a 300 or 400 lap event as we've had here recently, or we were supposed to have here recently, I guess I should say. But yes, lap sled, not quite as important, but there's still 110 of them out there. Fastest laps, a lot of times will come with those, not necessarily always. Finishing position, probably going to be one of the more important things, as well as place differential making a difference. Also, I will say this tends to be not too much of a passing track, right? So probably going to stay a little bit more chalky. There tends to not be very many caution flags in this race at this circuit. I know last season we didn't have stage cautions. There was only 2 caution flags throughout the entire race. I think we had one of the road courses where we went the entire race without a single caution. But Sonoma tends to be less of a caution track. Maybe this new wall in place of the tire barriers will change that, but things are probably going to stay a little bit chalkier this week. So I would say try not to overthink it too much. And with that being said, Rod, I want to give honorable mention to the pole sitter, because I think that whoever sits on the pole for this race, you're going to need to play. Even if it's Denny Hamlin and it seems scary, that person is probably going to lead a majority of the first stint. I think stage 1 is 45 laps. If they end up splitting or, flipping the stage, they're probably going to lead 42, 43 laps right off the bat. Those are going to be very important fantasy points when there's only 110 to lead. So whoever wins the pole, I don't care if they're a big road course guy or not, probably a good chance you're going to need to get them in there. Obviously, you think there's risk with that always. And of course, they can lose the most place differential. They don't gain any, but going to lead enough laps likely that you're going to want to have them in there.
Indeed. All right. Well, who are we starting with then for our high price driver?
All right, Rod, I'm going to go to Mr. Chase Elliott. Only 42 or not 42. I was looking at the wrong number, Rod. Boy, that'd be nice, right? If he was like 4,200, everybody would have him. $9,300 rather for Chase Elliott. And Chase Elliott's a guy we talked about on the betting episode earlier this week, but he is, as I try to see, this is why I usually write all my notes down on paper, Rod, because otherwise I lose my spot and I can't ever find them. But I found them anyways. Chase Elliott, best average finish at Sonoma over the last 3 races there. Again, there was no race in 2020, so from 2021 on, there's been 3 races. 5.0 average finish for Chase Elliott here. He has finished 5th, 8th, and 2nd. And in that 8th place finish, Rod, there's an asterisk there because he was leading that race after Kyle Larson had his pit issue, was probably going to be well on his way to winning. Then they had a long pit stop that took forever, got sent basically to the back, fought all the way back up to 8th place for a good finish there. So 5th, 8th, and 2nd in those last 3 races here. 2019, he was running in 3rd place when he had an engine problem and got set out of the race. So if you take that race out of it, top 8 in every single race here since 2017. Finishing position is going to be important. Chase Elliott delivers you finishing position. Not only that, Rod, but he also leads laps here. He led 7 laps last season, but 26 the year before he had that pit road issue, 13 the year prior to that, even led 3 the year where his engine let go back in 2019. Hasn't won in the next-gen car on a road course, right? That's kind of been the big thing. King of the road courses, 7 road course wins before the next-gen era. Hasn't done it in the next-gen, but 7 of the 11 next-gen road course starts that he's made, he's finished inside the top 10. He's been very consistent outside of a couple of outlier races where some things happened. He should be pretty good. He's been strong here. And again, we made this point on the betting episode. Sonoma, you want to look more at Sonoma stats than just road course stats in general. I'm going to make that point against someone later on that's actually pretty good on road courses, but not necessarily at Sonoma. Don't worry, Rod. AJ Allmendinger's safe. I'll let you talk about him later. But yeah, I love Chase Elliott this week, and I think you know at a really good price at only $9,300. You go to the top of the board of Martin Truex Jr. is at $10,500, and then you got Byron at $10,200, Larson at $10,000. So you're getting a pretty good discount on Chase Elliott here for a guy that has the best average finish over the last 3 seasons and does really well here every time we come to Sonoma.
Yeah, Chase definitely one of the better plays, and we've seen it. We've seen that he can do it. We've seen that he can lead, like you said, and we've seen that he can finish well here. Just a matter of can he do it? And then JB saying, Cody saying, not much passing SVG. Hold my beer. Laura would love to see.
He's not in this race, so we don't have to worry about that.
Not this one. Laura saying she'd love to see Chase do well as well. Boji Joe talking if there are a few caution strategies, doesn't matter. Here's the thing about that, Boji, is that strategy is going to matter because with the stage breaks, if you flip the stage, that could come and get you in a couple of different
so
ways.
There's it could go either way, right? You're going to have some different strategies where some people are going to be trying to catch a caution. It doesn't happen often, but as we know, you can make it work. The general strategy is probably going to be run until 3 laps before the stage break, pit. Some people are going to stay out, try to get those playoff points or those points, right? Guys that are on the bubble need the points race from this point out. And then you're going to have those guys going back up to the front. And Boji Joe asking, are they doing stage breaks now? Yes, they did not last season, but this year they are. We're back to stage breaks, so there will be a caution flag thrown. So you're going to get that flipping the stages thing again, bunch the field back up. They did get rid of it, as he says, but they brought it back at the end of last season, and they had it at COTA earlier this year. They're going to have it this season. So, but yeah, there's going to be some strategy opportunities, but you're probably going to have to get pretty lucky.
Yeah, again, they were like, oh, we'll experiment with it. The race didn't go the way they wanted to. So, nope, we're bringing it back. And so that's where we're at this point. So, all right, for my high price driver, I'm just going to the highest price driver. I'm not going to get cute. I think you have to have Martin Truex Jr. somewhere in your lineups. He's at 10,500.
If you didn't beat me to the dock, Rod, I would have taken Martin Truex Jr. So
there's no way you can't. Martin Truex Jr. Yeah, He's the easiest one to call. People are going to be like, well, that's not hard to do. I know, but I'm not here to make it hard. I'm not here to try to get cute.
I just said, Rod, this is a good week for chalk. So don't overthink it and just play Martin Truex Jr.
That's what I'm saying. Just slide him on in there because I'm reaffirming your suspicion or everybody's urge to want to play him. If you're sitting there thinking to yourself, yeah, but everybody's going to have him. Yeah, everybody's going to have him. So one of the other things though, too, and you might, for the people that dig into stats, like the people that frequent a lot of sites that we frequent as well, like there's on driveraverages.com. If you go to driveraverages.com, Martin Truex Jr. is listed as 10th place average finish since February of 2021, which is crazy to think. But because if you look at his actual finishes since 2018, first, now 2021, there's only been 3 races, like Cody said, a third, a first, and a 26. You want to talk about somebody throwing off your average? That 26th place finish is the one that's plummeting it to a 10th place average. So if somebody's just looking at that and they're thinking, yeah, but Martin Truex Jr.'s only got a 10th place average finish here. Well, that's because one of them was a 26, but he's at a third and a first. And again, like I said, he's won 3 out of the last 5 races on this track. That's impressive in and of itself, right? That's what you're looking for, those good finishes. In fact, the 1 year or 2 years, actually, 2019, he started in 8th. 2023, he started in 8th and ended up winning both of those races. But what you're really looking at here is laps led. He is the leader, the active driver leader in terms of laps led around this track. He's got 264 laps led. The next person that's actually still driving, Kurt Busch is the next person, by the way, who's sort of still active, I guess, with 206. It's funny how they keep him in there. He hasn't been in there forever, but they're just
I don't think he's officially filed that retirement paper, Rod.
I think that's what it is. Like he's like, I'm on terminal leave forever. I may come back, I may not. But the next person up there is Denny Hamlin at 135. So, I mean, he's got 130, almost 129 laps more led than does the next best person on this. So he can get around and lead you laps. He led 51 laps last season. He led 59 laps in 2019, 62 laps in 2018. It's Martin Truex's world. I don't have to make too much more of a case for it. So 10-5, lock him in, be happy.
Yeah, and I really liked Ryan over at iFantasy shared this. It's Sonoma since 2016 minus 2022, and he puts in parentheses, JGR was junk. If you remember, Toyota was really, really bad the first year of the next-gen car on road courses, so kind of throw that out. But he was 13th place late in the race, pitted hoping to catch a lucky break with a caution. Didn't happen. In 2017 is where he lost an engine. If you take those 2 races out, 2.2 average finish since 2016, Rod. Holy shit. Martin Truex Jr. is good here. I wrote in my article, the Underdog article, it's going to be coming out here shortly, that they considered renaming this track Martin Truex Jr. Raceway. They did not, but they should because of how fucking good he is here.
Yeah, and I remember last year, too, when he actually won that race. I mean, the swarm to get over to Victory Lane was just, crazy. But watching him up there on the stage, you could tell he needed that because it'd been a rough season for the back part of that last season for him. So he definitely needed that win.
But Boji Joe real quick says he forgot about Kyle Busch. Well, there's a reason for that. He
Yeah.
said Kyle Busch is fast here, but I don't know if you've seen Kyle Busch lately. Rod, there was a test at the Brickyard this week because they're going back to Indianapolis, the Oval. Kyle Busch was one of the guys who tested. 3 cars out there testing, Rod. Guess which one of them wrecked?
I'm going to go ahead and take Kyle Busch.
I would fucking avoid everything Kyle Busch for a while until he pulls his head out of his ass.
I will make a case for this on this one. So
I didn't look that far ahead in the dock. Okay.
Hang tight. I got something to say about Kyle Busch. So I got something to say about a lot more drivers, but let's first tell you about Rhythm. If you're betting on NBA player props, you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning our algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its prediction with player prop graphs to help you feel even more confident in your picks, which you can make wherever you normally place your bets or DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data without you needing to endlessly scroll a sports book. Rhythm also allows you to create your own custom NBA models so you can get AI-backed money line, spread, and total picks for every playoff game. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Oh, wait, I'm not done. But wait, there's more. Let me tell you about NYRA. Bet the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga with NYRA bets. Join now to claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus just in time for the Belmont Stakes at nyrabets.com/SGPN25. And if you need an extra boost like I do, apparently, bet the Penn Mile bonus. Earn $10 win or lose when you bet at least $100 on Penn National on Friday. Visit nyrabets.com to opt in. That's not all. Get $10 win or lose when you opt in and bet at least $100 on Monmouth Park on Saturday. On Sunday, it's your chance to win big at Monmouth Park. Grab a share of $2,500 when you hit the last 2 trifectas. Just opt in at nyrabets.com and get ready to cash in on the excitement. Plus, the winning streak continues. Score another $20 win or lose when you bet at least $100 on Asiabinoa Downs on Monday. Remember, get your $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus from the Belmont Stakes. Go to nyrabets.com/SGPN25.
But wait, there's more. Rod sounding like the old OxyClean commercial. Good job to you, Rod. King also, shout out to him. He's the one who said that. He said Busch can't even test without wrecking. He was typing that as I was saying it. Rod, I'm scrolling back up looking for a comment here. Boji Joe said that we will have him when one of us say it's Busher. Rod, my next pick for the DFS show is Christopher Busher, 8,600. Went to a little bit of the higher side of the mid-tier here, but I save money on the top tier, so I can do that. Plus, it's my show, so I'll do whatever I want to. Just kidding. Well, sort of, actually, not really. But Chris Busher, Rod, really fucking good at Sonoma. Not only is he good at Sonoma, he's good on road courses in NASCAR in general. I just mentioned Chase Elliott a few minutes ago. Best average finish at Sonoma since 2021. Second place on that list, Chris Busher with an average finish 7.3. And really, that's very much carried by his last 2 finishes. And I think that while in general, I think it's good to look at the entire body of work at Sonoma, you can look at the fact that the last 2 seasons, Chris Busher, it's been the next-gen car, so we did have that switch, and he got better. Also, that's the part of the Keselowski era, right? It was just Roush Fenway before. You had the Keselowski thing in there. I'm not saying Keselowski helped him that much, but I think that this team has obviously gotten a lot better, right? And he's kind of improved on that. 2nd and 4th place the last 2 seasons here. As Boji Joe says, RFK is smoking fast too. Agree with you there, because that has been the case here lately. Not only is he good at Sonoma, which is great and which is what we're looking for, Rod, but also on top of that, and I know that you should look more at Sonoma than you should at the other things, but adding to being good at Sonoma, 11 straight road courses in NASCAR. He's finished inside the top 11, Rod. I increased that to 11 because it would make it 11 straight. If you want to make it top 10, then it's 10 of the last 11. Fine. The one outside of that is an 11th place, right? So I absolutely love Chris Busher this week for DFS. Spoiler, we're going to talk about him again in a little bit because Chris Busher is a guy you want to be on this week. I actually picked him as one of my outrights. I heard a stat. God, I wish I had it. Ford has as many wins at Sonoma as Dodge has since a certain year, Rod. And obviously Dodge has not been in NASCAR since 2012. So I'd have to go back and see where I heard that stat or vet what it is. But I thought that was pretty crazy statistic. But I am in on Chris Buescher. I think he's going to have a solid day. Even if he doesn't win, he's got the ability to run up front. He's got the ability to lead laps, and he's likely going to get you a good finish like he has the last couple of seasons here and like he's done lately on road courses. So Christopher Buescher, 8,600 is my mid-tier driver.
Ford won in 2017 with Kevin Harvick. Carl Edwards won in 2014. The last Dodge driver to win on this track, Kurt Busch in 2011. Juan Pablo Montoya in 2007. So two Dodge wins.
Has any Ford won since 2007 other than Edwards and Harvick?
Not since 2017. No, Harvick was the last one to win in 2017.
Well, yeah, but since 2007, right? That's when Juan Pablo won.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Is there only two Fords since then?
Yeah.
So that was the stat. Since 2007, Ford has the same number of wins as Dodge has. Dodge exited the sport after the 2012 season. So pretty insane there. But, that doesn't help the Chris Buescher point, obviously. I just thought it was an interesting stat.
Well, any chance you get to say Juan Pablo Montoya's name, too, is also a really good day. All right. So for my mid-tier driver, rewind about, I don't know, 2.5, 4 minutes to wherever Cody said I would stay away from Kyle Busch. All things.
I wish I would have waited and said all that later because I didn't realize you had him as your next player out.
But no, it completely makes my point. Nobody is going to want to touch Kyle Busch, which is why
solid point.
Which is why Kyle Busch at $7,700 is probably the sneakiest play that you can get going this week in DFS because nobody's going to want him. So for GPP plays, please throw him in there. Why do I say that? I understand that right now Kyle Busch is going through it. Like I don't know what's going on. Don't even want to know what's going on. But what I do know is that when Kyle Busch gets to Sonoma, it doesn't matter what his season has looked like up until that point. He just does well at Sonoma. Let me read off his finishes since 2015. Can I? Thank you. I will. He won.
I'll allow it.
Okay, thank you. He won the race in 2015. He finished 7th in 16, 5th in 17, 5th in 18, 2nd in 19, 5th in 2021. I was there for that one. 30th in 2022. That was not a good day for him, but he was a runner-up here in 2023. In 17 laps, he led as well. That's a lot of top 10 finishes. That's a lot of top 5 finishes. That's a few top 3 finishes for Kyle Busch. I almost don't feel like I have to continue reading on about how good Kyle Busch. In 2023, he was the 4th fastest guy in total speed ranking on this track for that. So, look, I get it. It's scary. I get it. It's crazy. I just know that if you're going to differentiate yourself on a track like this, because a lot of people are going to want to load up on Martin Truex Jr., a lot of people are going to want to, load up on maybe Kyle Larson and all these guys that are going to cost them money, even William Byron, because William Byron ended up winning at COTA, right? So there's going to be people that want to say that he's on his way. You're going to need to do something different. And for a guy that has that many top 10 finishes, that many top 5 finishes, that many top 3 finishes in the last several years, to be at $7,700, that's going to give you a lot of room to play with. He may not get you the place differential points that you want, because there's not really that many to be had out here, to be honest with you, but good finishing position, like Cody said, the potential to lead laps as well, as we've seen him do before. It's Sonoma, Cody. It's Sonoma. I don't know what it is about the California sun. I don't know what it is about him, but he led 3 laps in 2019, 2 in 2021, and then 17 last season. So they're not a ton, but it's more than another $7,700 driver would give you. You look at who's around him in that area. You got Ryan Blaney, probably not going to do all that well on this track. You got Alex Bowman, who I'll make a case for later. He could probably be a good one too. You got Joey Logano. He'll probably finish in the top 5, but I don't know.
I don't know if I would say probably, Rod.
Yeah. So, and then Brown and Waters at 7,100, Keselowski at 7,000. So look, this is a hold your nose and play it, but he'll probably end up getting you something good, at least. He won't lose you anything at $7,700. Boji Joe talking about Tupac, California. Yes, Kyle Busch. He loves it. It's not too far away from Vegas, too, where he's from.
There you go. I think you got a good point as far as nobody's going to want to play him because, I made all those points earlier, Rod. So I'm glad that I inadvertently set that up for you. But yeah, he will be a good different play that a lot of people aren't going to want to be on because I'm going to look at his name and be like, you seen what he's done lately? He can't, like King said, can't even do a test without wrecking, Rod. So yeah, I think that you've got a good point there, and he would be a good GPP play.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you for conceding to me, Kyle Busch, because I still would have fought you on it.
You're welcome, Rod. All right, we're going to the low-priced drivers, Rod. I'm going to go Justin Haley, 6,400. Another guy I talked about on the betting episode earlier this week. Again, a lot of crossover between betting and fantasy. Justin Haley, look, we've all been super impressed with how well he's been running at Rick Ware Racing. Things have been going really good for him over there. They've showed a lot of speed lately. That RFK partnership, right? It seems to be making a difference. We all kind of laughed at Haley when he went there, but not looking like such a bad move now, right? He's still not in an elite car. I get that. But at a road course is where that gap is closed a little bit more and the driver talent can step in and really help out. You go back and look what he's done here in the last two races. 21st place last season. That's not bad, especially for a guy at 6,400. 12th place in 2022, though. I gave him out with that top 10 number. I think he's got that type of upside. So I really like that for Justin Haley this week. I think it's 6,400. Again, you to the bottom of this. I don't know that there's going to be a ton of cheap options you can cram in and just hope for utter chaos. And some of these road courses we go to a couple of weeks ago, right? You can just cram some guys in the back and hope for a lot of wrecks and chaos, and you're going to get that. You just don't get, this will be the one, Rod. There's going to be 14 cautions and 42 DNFs at a 38 car field. But you're going to have the pace car running out of fuel like it did at the Detroit Grand Prix for IndyCar last week. But I don't foresee that happening or being the case. So I think that you got to be a little more selective with your cheap plays. And I don't even want to call it a punt play because he's not a punt by any means. So yeah, Justin Haley, 6,400. He's helped me out a lot lately, winning me quite a bit of DFS money because I just continue to play him and he just continues to show up and get the results. I don't see that stopping this week for the track where he had a 12th place finish just 2 seasons ago. Yeah, that was in Colleague, but again, how much better is that Colleague equipment than the Rick Ware equipment that we've had this season, at least when Haley's in the wheel and even Growler, honestly, too. But yeah, I like Justin Haley, 6,400.
Yeah, again, he'll just pop up and do well for you in random spots. And another guy that somebody's going to probably look at and go, Justin Haley, nah, I don't really want to dig into his stats to see why I should play him. Let me just pick a more familiar name. So hopefully you can differentiate yourself on that one. Another one that people are probably going to pass over. I didn't realize I was going to build a GPP out of this whole thing today, but here I am offering you up Zane Smith for the low-priced guy at $5,400. My whole thing is this, right? I mean, for Zane Smith, obviously we know big Truck Series guy, definitely one of the guys that we equate with Truck Series. Kind of struggling up here. His average finish this season, 28.6. Not really anything to write home about in that 71 truck. Not really doing Spire a whole lot of favors right now. But I will say back in the early part of this season on COTA, he had a great day. Started 34th, finished 19th. I know that's not a fantastic day. I know that's not a day that you write down in your diary. Dear diary, today I finished 19th and I feel happy about it. But you got to feel good about it, right? That's when you're running as poorly as you are. Sometimes a 19th place finish can feel like the bottom step of the podium. But he got you 37 points that day in fantasy on a $5,400 salary. If he does that again for you this week on a $5,400 salary, you are going to be thrilled with yourself. His baseline is about 15 points per race. However, I will say last week, he actually even got you 41 points in the race over there at Worldwide Technology Raceway. He started 36th, finished 19th. Notice a trend, little 19th place finish there as well. He's gotten you as high as 31 too, as well in the Worth 400. So, I mean, while he's not doing fantastic, right? King Zane Smith. Well, listen, I gotta save people money somehow, and a guy that can at least get you 30 points on the day on a $5,400 salary. I tell you what, King, I'm going to read you off some names, and you tell me if well, actually, Cody, I'm going to read you off some names. Tell me if they can score you 30 points. Harrison Burton.
No.
Kaz Gralla.
Maybe.
Daniel Hemrick.
No.
Ricky Stenhouse.
Probably not.
Corey LaJoie.
No.
And Zane Smith is the best of your bottoms. Like that's really all there is to it.
Yeah, and like he actually, I mean, for as rough of a season as he's had, it's been well documented. Like you made some good points. He's had some really pop races. Coda was one of those. Now that is a little bit more of a chaos one, right? But if you start 34th, you literally don't have much to lose, which could be all you need. So I like it, Rod. Good building blocks here. If you play these 6 guys, you still got $2,100 to work with. So plenty of space in there to upgrade from Kyle Busch. But no, and again, Zane Smith, to your point of the GPP thing, going to be a guy people are going to try and avoid. They're going to try and pay up for Justin Haley instead of taking Zane Smith, when maybe it ends up being a Zane Smith type of day for sure. So I think that's important to bring up. Boji Joe, as Boris said, making his debut this year. He is in the Xfinity race. We talked about that yesterday on the Xfinity show, so make sure you go back and listen to that. Kaz Gralla, I do like Kaz Gralla as a DFS play as well. And King says he'd take the 7 or 47 over Zane. That's the point. People aren't going to play Zane, and that is why Rod gave him out.
It is indeed. Who else did we give out? I will go over them for you, so get out your pen and paper. Cody started you out with Chase Elliott at $9,300 as his high-price driver. I said Martin Truex. That's not how you spell Chase Elliott. It's your favorite driver. Get on it. I gave you Martin Truex Jr. as my high-price driver at $10,500. Cody gave you Chris Buescher at $8,600 as his high-price driver. I said Kyle Busch at $7,700 would buy, or my mid-tier driver, by the way. Cody said that Justin Haley would be his low-price driver, $6,400. I said Zane the Bane Smith at $5,400 is my low-price driver. Let us move on to Underdog Fantasy, where, of course, the whole goal of this is to select higher than or better than or worse than the finishing position that they project for each of the drivers. We have picked 3 each of our favorite plays for this Underdog Pick'em picks, and we'll continue to give those to you. You can use up to 5. Actually, now you can use up to 8. So you can use all 6 of these.
Fucking go.
Yes.
This new deal that Underdog's doing where you can pick 8. Hell yes. That's hashtag GGNs only. We love those guys. Look, if you're listening to this episode right now, Rod, and you're not on Underdog Fantasy, first of all, I don't want to make you feel bad, but you should be. So promo code RACESGPN, go sign up. It's going to help us out. It's going to help you out. If you've gotten this far into this episode, I promise you are going to enjoy it. And again, for a lot more than just NASCAR, but mostly for NASCAR, because obviously that's the best part. All right, Rod, my first pick, Mr. Alex Bowman in the Hendrick Motorsports number 48 car. Bowman is a guy that love on a week-to-week basis just because of his consistency, right? Boy, he didn't get a top 10 last week, Rod. I told you he wasn't going to get a top 10 last week. He didn't get a top 10, but we're right back on the train this week because Alex Bowman is consistent. He's been extremely consistent here at Sonoma. You go back and you look, he's got 5 starts at Hendrick Motorsports in this at Sonoma. I'm not going to count his Tommy Baldwin and BK Racing days because those were trash cars. But in his 5 starts at Sonoma, Rod, 9th, 14th, 9th, 16th, and 15th. The big key to take away from there, 5 for 5 of 16th place or better, and it's 14.5. I'm not so much worried about him finishing much worse than that. A lot of side for him to finish better than that. Obviously, in 3 of those 5, he's finished better than 14.5. I have all the faith in Alex Bowman. On top of that, again, good track record at Sonoma, plus good at road courses. He has a top 10 in 4 of the last 6 road course races. 4th place at Coda, 8th place at the Roval, 5th place at Indy, most recently for those. Alex Bowman, good road course racer, good at Sonoma, gets you consistent finishes. Love Alex Bowman this week at better than 14.5.
It's got to be, right? I mean, his teammates are obviously good here, right? Byron and Elliott and Larson. So he's sadly enough, when the 48 used to be good at Sonoma, that used to be a lock. You used to know that Jimmy Johnson was going to come out, run well at Sonoma, and that 48 car would be up there. Sometimes it's a little bit iffy on whether or not Alex Bowman is going to pull up that, but again, year, and his teammates are good. He's good. So, and really a top 14 for a Hendrick car, it just feels like a little bit of disrespect. So I like it. In fact, I was going to do it. But I know we talked about it in the betting episode. So I was just kind of like, I'll let that be. But yeah, definitely. I agree with you. Better than 14.5. Some of these finishing positions kind of make me scratch my head, much like this one. Well, maybe not this one so much, because I know that people are kind of down, and I'm sure
this one doesn't make me scratch my head, Rod. I like the other side of it. So I think they said it just
like
perfectly.
The other side of this. Yeah, you love the other side of this. This is AJ.
Okay, I will say I don't love the other side of it. I'm not going to play this one because it scares me both directions, but I don't like the better than like you do.
I do. Well, you know me. I'm a glass half full kind of a guy. Boji Joe saying it's a plane, it's a bird, it's a frog. A frog? No, silly. It's underdog. It's underdog. Hi, Lexi. How are you doing? She's checking in.
Checking in 2 days in a row.
I love that. Yes. So I have AJ Allmendinger, as we totally just blew that one. Better than 8.5. This one is set because somebody looked at the last few finishes for AJ Allmendinger on this track and said, "Yep, this one's not going to work because." I'm not going to go crazy into it, but he did drive the 84 back in the day, which is crazy. He drove the 84 on this track, ended up 37th, but he did have 7th place the next year in the 44 car. Drove the 43 a couple of years, finished 13th in both of those, 9th in 2012, but then he hit a bad stretch in that 47, 37th, 37th, 14th, 35th, 38th. Whew. He did not do well in those 47 cars. But now that he's in the 16, look, we all know that AJ Allmendinger is Xfinity road course royalty, right? That dude has the most ever wins in the Xfinity Series on a road course. He's been brought in to do road courses because he's so damn good, right? He finished 6th here last year as well, which means to me that, again, he's got the ability to do it even in this 16 car where, yeah, that's not necessarily the best equipment. I get it. But I'm not gonna besmirch the name of AJ Allmendinger. Road course race this year in Coda. Oh yeah, a 6th place finish for him there as well. Both of those finishes there better than 8.5. When you look at his body of work on road courses as a whole in the Cup Series. Okay, 39 starts on road courses. I know that we talk about Sonoma, you can't really compare, so don't try. But this is a discipline that he's good at. So it kind of doesn't matter for AJ Allmendinger what track he's on. 39 starts overall, 20 top 10 finishes in his career. 20 top 10 finishes, 9 top 5s, and 3 wins. So only half, just better than half of the races that he finished. And then you talk about the equipment that he was in, right? The 47, the 84, all these random cars. 8.5. If this were like 5.5, maybe I would pause. But if you're giving me 3 extra positions for him to get another 6th place finish on a road course this season, I can name you 5 better cars than him on the track. That's fine. But he belongs somewhere in the conversation of a top 10 finish, if not obviously a top 8. So give me AJ Allmendinger, better than 8.5. Don't care what anybody else has to say. I'm dying on this cross.
Rod, 12 starts here at Sonoma. Better than 8.5. 2 times. 2 out of 12 batting average. But
did you listen to the cars he was in? Cody, I was giving you all of it.
Yeah, he's in a Colleague car. You think Colleague is better than JTG?
They were this year.
You think Colleague is better than Penske? No.
Wait, did he or did he not finish 6th at Coda this season?
I don't care about Coda. AJ Allmendinger is great at road course racing, Rod. He's not good at Sonoma. Did he not finish 6th place last year? This is kryptonite, and that's why I'm scared to take the worst then. It's because he finished 6th place last year, but I am in no way, shape, or form confident in taking the over because here's his finishes, Rod. 6th, 19th, 38th, 35th, 14th, 37th, 37th. 4 of his last 7 times here, he's been worse than 35th place. That's like reading off Kyle Larson's stats at a super speedway, Rod. We usually save our disagreements.
Not good at super speedway, so it doesn't matter.
AJ Allmendinger's not good at Sonoma, so same point.
You know what though? Here's a good part about it. If you use this and it doesn't hit on your pick 8, you still cash.
There you go. Okay, well that's good. I guess if you want to ensure one of your losses, you just play this one. So I'll give you that, Rod. Next up for me, I'm gonna go with a little bit of one that, again, maybe, I really got to start writing my notes down again, Rod. This was a horrible idea. Okay, I've found the tab I was looking for now, so there you go. Okay, Tyler Reddick. I'm gonna take him worse than 7.5, Rod, but to your AJ Allmendinger point, Tyler Reddick's one of the best road course racers out there. How could you possibly do it, Rod? I will die on this fucking hill this week. Sonoma is not a road course like everything else. Sonoma is its own beast. It's its own place. You got to look at Sonoma. You can look at Sonoma, and if they're good, you can also apply the fact that they're good elsewhere. But if they're good everywhere else and they suck at Sonoma, Rod, they continue to suck at Sonoma. Tyler Reddick. 3 starts here, Rod. 19th place. His best finish. That was in his first career start in Richard Childress Racing before the Next Gen era, where he's become this great road course racer. 33rd last year, 35th in 2022, 19th in 2021. Tyler Reddick has not been good at Sonoma. Great road course racer, probably going to be one of the favorites each and every week. Sonoma's different. Sonoma is its own beast, Rod. I'm going to die on that hill this week. You don't just auto bet AJ Allmendinger because it's a road course. You don't just auto bet Tyler Reddick because it's a road course. You're fading these guys this week because they suck at this road course in particular. And this is the one road course where its history means more than everything else. I don't know if that's because we've come here so long. I don't know what it is, but Tyler Reddick worse than 7.5. You know how much I love Tyler Reddick. Big Tyler Reddick guy. Tyler Reddick won Road America. Good, great. He did. Not this year, I don't think, but maybe he did. I can't even remember. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't care if he won the last 10 road courses. He's not good at Sonoma, Rod. That's the only thing that matters. Worse than 7.5. Tyler Reddick. This will not be one of your 2 losses that gets thrown out on underdog. This one's going to hit for you.
This episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast brought to you by Spicy whatever.
We didn't get it all out in the Xfinity show yesterday. If you don't listen to all the shows, which you should, but Rod and I disagree a lot more than normal on the Xfinity show. We didn't really have a big disagreement this week. We little argument at the end, but it is, in fun. But no, this is we've reserved it for this episode, Rod. We're getting it all out. I like arguing with you because it's a lot of fun. Because I love you. So
because I don't fold up my tent and gonna go home right afterwards. I actually can stand there and go toe to toe. All right, so I'm going to take everything that I just said about AJ Allmendinger and dump the other side of it for Daniel Suarez. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But I will say this is my one worse than on the entire underdog picks, and that's Daniel Suarez worse than 11.5. I know. He won this race 2 years ago. I know that. I get it. Right. This is like me saying AJ Allmendinger finished 6th last year and his outside finishes all over the place outside of that and taking him anyways. But Daniel Suarez is not known for his road racing prowess. Therefore, his win last or a couple seasons ago was just as surprising to him as it was to everybody else when Chase Elliott and or Kyle Larson should have had that on lock, right? That should have been their race. They should have won that one. Strategy and all that other stuff was exactly, I don't want to say exactly why, but a big majority of the reason why Daniel Suarez won that race that year. Outside of that, though, 16th place in 2017, 15th place in 2018, 17th in 2019, almost got there in 2021 with the 12th place, but last season finished 22nd. So Daniel Suarez, like I said, not known for his road racing powers. I can overlook a lot of mediocrity out of a guy like AJ Allmendinger when I look back at the kind of cars that he drove, when I look back at some of the things that happened to put him in those positions, because we know that he is proficient at road course racing. However, of course, it cracks me up because the one race that he won in Sonoma, everybody's like, is Daniel Suarez the next road racing king? It's like, let's pump our brakes here a little bit. So he's not necessarily all that out there for road course racing. What's funny, though, is he does have an 11.7 finish on this course since 2021. But of course,
which makes the point because that includes the win.
I know. But then outside of that,
yeah, because he sucks.
Outside of that, it's 22nd and 12th. So, yeah, I mean, look, he'll be a good day for Daniel Suarez, but a good day for Daniel Suarez will be a top 15 finish. I don't think he's going to jump into the top 10 this week. So, yeah, and really, even when you look back at his season in general, it's Trackhouse has been so sad.
Yeah, that's what scares me a little bit on Chastain this week. But I did write this one up in my article as well, Rod. Absolutely love this. We can completely agree on this. Worse than 11.5 is possibly my favorite play on the board here. Don't, again, track history I like, but don't overlook or don't overthink one race. He had one good race. They showed up. They hit everything perfectly. Had to have some help, and he was obviously going to run better than 11.5 that day. But things fell in his favor. That's all good. That's great, but not good. I mean, his other, that's his only finish here better than 11.5 is that one time. The other 5 races, his average finish is 16.4, just not quite as good. 29 career road course starts for Suarez. Only 6 times has he finished better than 11.5 and 29 starts, Rod. He's raced for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's raced for Stuart Haas. He had a short stint in there where he was with some shitty teams, but now he's been at Trackhouse. Like, he's been in good cars his entire career. 29 starts, only 6 times he's better than 11.5. And then from Ryan over at IC Race, 10 of the last 11 races this season, 18th place or worse. Maybe they're testing something because they're already in the playoffs, whatever, but Trackhouse has not looked good. Suarez has not been good. It's a complete outlier that he won that race. It doesn't look like the rest of his results here or his results on road courses. So absolutely love him going worse than 11.5.
Yeah, and then you tack on that finish earlier at Coda, 31st at Coda. Not a good day for him there either.
Yeah, absolutely. So glad we could agree on that one after such a contentious debate on AJ Allmendinger. All right, Rod, I don't think we're going to debate on this one. Christopher Buescher, better than 9.5. Look, I just made all of the points for him in the DFS side of things. I like him so much this week that I'm mentioning him here as well. Also, he made the article, Rod, because absolutely all in on. There's a lot. Like, Underdog always has some really good lines, but this week, like, I'm glad we get 8 picks now because I'm gonna be racking up the picks in NASCAR this week, Rod, because they're great. But 7.3 average finish over the last 3 races here, like I mentioned before. 4th and 2nd the last 2 seasons. 11 straight races being top 11. He's been better than the 9.5 in 9 of those 11 races. So, I mentioned before, 10 of those 11 were top 10s. Well, 9 of those 11 are top 9 finishes. So absolutely love Chris Buescher this week, and his better than 9.5. He's going to be in the mix for a good finish at the end of the day because he always is. Give me Chris Buescher better than 9.5.
It's funny. I've said this before, I think, on this show, but I used to listen back in the day to the fantasy football focus, the fantasy focus with Matthew Berry. And he would always say on his show, I could take the same set of stats and twist them any way I want and make arguments. And it's funny because, when you look at stats, obviously you can interpret them a few different ways, but there's sometimes that you just can't. And you can look at him and go, well, this is face value. Chris Buescher is definitely one of those guys who, and especially he's on the charge right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, there may be some speed bumps along the way for Chris Buescher, but he is on the charge overall. Like, if you look at his trajectory, it's like here, and then it'll go, but then it'll keep going up a little bit, and then it'll keep going up, but it never dips all the way down. Right. So I'm with you on that one. There is no argument here for me on Chris Buescher as a top 9 car. All right. So I just dumped all over Daniel Suarez. Now I'll take his teammate Ross Chastain and I'll lift him up. His projected finishing position is the same as his teammate, 11.5, which is crazy because on this instance, I do believe that Ross Chastain will finish better than 11.5 in this race. Why? He's done it the last 3 years in a row on this track. In fact, in 2021 in the 42 car, he started in 29th. We talked about how hard it is to pass on this track. We talked about how hard it is to make moves on this track, but started 29th, ended up finishing 7th, whether that was through strategy or being able to make passes or whatever that was. He just maneuvered his way up there in the 42 car, no less. And then a couple of years ago in the 1 car in his first year there, started 7th, finished 7th. In 2023 last year, he started 15th, finished 1st, actually led a lap in that one as well. Earlier this season in Coda, started 6th, finished 7th. By my calculations, that is better than 11.5. I mean, Ross Chastain is the antithesis of what we talk about when we talk about Trackhouse not being good, because Ross Chastain's not a bad driver. I just don't know what's going on with him lately. His average finish, 13.1. And for a lot of drivers, that's actually not bad considering all kinds of stuff. 4 cars for Gibbs, 4 cars for Hendrick. That's 8 cars already. So if you can be somewhere in the top 15 of those, then you're doing better than most. But, it's just been kind of a let's find our footing season for Ross Chastain in some way, shape, or form. And so, yeah, I mean, Darlington, he finished 11th. Charlotte, he finished 11th. Gateway, he finished 12th. 3 finishes in a row that were, if not inside the 11th place finish line, then just outside of it. So, yeah, give them a little bit of boost, right? Watermelons grow pretty well. Lexi says watermelons do grow pretty well out here in the Central Valley and in the Sonoma Hills. So maybe he's going to visit a couple watermelon farms, recharge himself, and maybe he'll finish better than 11.5.
He is a Florida watermelon farmer, but those California watermelons are probably pretty good too.
California fruits are damn awesome. Thank you very much. I will
take
all those and then some.
I'm glad to hear that, Rod.
I love it. All right. Get out your pen and paper again. We're going to go over our underdog plays for this race. Cody started you off with Alex Bowman, better than 14.5. I said against all comers, AJ Allmendinger would finish better than 8.5. Cody said Tyler Reddick would finish worse than 7.5. I said Daniel Suarez would finish worse than 11.5. Cody said that Chris Buescher would finish better than 9.5. And I said that Ross Chastain would finish better than 11.5. That is our underdog plays. Pretty confident in all of those. You can play all 6 of those and pick 2 more that you like and have some fun with that pick 8.
Yeah, they keep killing it over there at Underdog, Rod. Again, if you're now an hour and 2 minutes into this show and you're not an underdog yet, promo code RACESGPN, get her done. Let's go.
If you need help, share your screen with me. I will sign you up and we will get it together. No, just kidding. Don't do that. I'm not.
Send me your credit card information, your social security number. Oh, wait a minute.
I'll have my crack staff over here make sure to put all the money we can into your account. So that'll be fun. Well, Cody, we've made it to the end of this DFS edition for the Cup Series. We get to do this again tomorrow.
Do the same thing tomorrow. Xfinity style. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully Underdog will hurry up and get Xfinity numbers up so we can break those down. But I'm very excited for that. It'll be fun to have, again, a standalone DFS fantasy Underdog episode for Xfinity, Rod. Make sure you check out the F1 Gambling Podcast. You and I over there on that one, breaking down the Canadian Grand Prix this week. Shout out to Lexi. Thank you all. She says it's been a great show. We appreciate that. We think so too. Even though Rod and I had our little spat, we'll still be back tomorrow for Xfinity. Oh, Xfinity DFS. We might get into some true arguments over there, Rod. Who knows? But check me out over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff. Lacrosse, Rod, second week 2 PLL bets article is up. Gonna win some money on lacrosse this week. Ton of other stuff coming out or that's out already. I mentioned my underdog article for NASCAR stuff. That's going to be out here shortly. So make sure you check that out. Also, ton of arena football content also coming down the pipe. So stays busy in the content game. Make sure you follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb for all of that. See you tomorrow. Do this all again, Xfinity style.
I don't know, Cody. You may want James after our fight. You may not want me anymore. James, keep your phone ready. You may get a contact from Cody.
Hey, James, how's it going? Got a job.
Wait till the body's cold. Jesus Christ.
Oh shit. Oh, we're not done yet. I thought you hit end, Rod. Sorry.
Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio to everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review, whether it's In Between Media. I'm off for a while in between media. I got like I said, military school I'm about to hit up. So Seth and Elliot holding it down for you over there as well. And
did the documentary crew catch up with you, Rod? Rod Villagomez goes back to school.
They did. And I'm pulling my full on Rodney Dangerfield on that as well. So, and then of course, hey, go check out Arena Football League. I know that Cody's got some stuff going on, but I had a fantastic conversation the other day, 30 minutes longer than it should have been, with one of the guys who brought the Arena Football League to the world, Jerry Kurz. So go check that out. Please do that. That's a great conversation. A lot of good information there. So, all right, we'll be back tomorrow to do this all again. Love you all so much. Till tomorrow, let's go racing and let it ride.